How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another Game Week preview stream. We are here with Game Week 35. As you can see, got a little bit of a different setup here. We got the green screen running a little bit. I'm still going to be altering with it. In the video that I'm putting out today, I kind of also say that I'm going to be messing around with the lighting as well. But yeah, let's get into the preview. So yeah, I look a little bit more like I'm kind of involved in the stream now that I'm got the green screen. I don't have the webcam around me and that sort of stuff. So yeah, things are looking nice. Like I said, I'm going to be messing around with the lighting and that sort of stuff. So we should be getting it all, you know, all pristine, all nice looking, and with no graininess or anything like that. As for my team, it didn't do so hot this week. We took a -8 at the last minute, which I think I worked it out to be somewhere around 30 points that I missed out on had I just left my team the way it was. So Martial did get an assist, but Pogba got a goal, who I transferred out, and he got some bonus points as well. Kevin De Bruyne got an assist and a bonus point. That was nice, but we transferred him out for Mohamed Salah, who got a brace and an assist, so that's bad too. We also brought in Phil Foden, who he got a clean sheet point, but he didn't get a goal like Richarlison did. So yeah, it wasn't the greatest. So it was like a 30-point swing with the hit. Not fantastic, obviously, but we do have ourselves set up for the game weeks going forward as well, because City obviously plays Bournemouth and Norwich in their last 3 games, and yeah, could be good. And they also play Watford, I believe, as well. This is a Game Week 37 game, so teams that are all, you know, not doing too great down the bottom, so could be just like, you know, easy points for City. But yeah, let's run through the team here. We end up with 52 points. We had a game week rank of around 4.9 million. Not great. And overall, the team scored 44 with the -8. So basically, our back line, double clean sheet got taken away from us at the last minute in the Wolves-Sheffield United game. That's a bit unfortunate there. Trent obviously losing his clean sheet. They could have actually conceded more, to be fair, Liverpool, but nonetheless, we'll take the 2 points. Wan-Bissaka got a clean sheet, but picked up a yellow card. He could have scored as well, and if he would have scored, he would have been on bonus points, so that would have been absolutely insane. And then obviously Foden, you know, he only got the clean sheet point. Son only played 1 half, got us 1 point. Martial and Fernandes did good because they got returns there. Fernandes I probably should have captained. Oh, that was another thing. I was going to triple captain Fernandes, who, you know, got 14 points. So 14 points from a triple captaincy chip is pretty good last time I checked. So yeah, De Bruyne obviously getting an assist and a bonus point isn't terrible. And then our front two just didn't do anything again. On the bench, I was so happy that Son came in and that all my United players played, because going into the Spurs game, Son was on the bench, and if either Son, Martial, Fernandes, or Wan-Bissaka didn't play, I would have gotten Nketiah's -2 off the bench, which would have been terrible. So it's a good thing that didn't happen. But yeah, apart from that, it was just a really bad week for me. I'm now second in one of my leagues instead of being in first. One of the other leagues that I'm in, I'm currently way ahead. But yeah, could be dicey times, especially with some of the transfers that I've done this week. We've done even more interesting. We've doubled down. We've gone crazy. We're gonna have fun with it. This year has been a wacky one, so let's have a wacky ending to the season as well. So yeah, let's check out the scores. I don't think I did as well this week as I did a couple of weeks before that, but we shall find out here. So I said Chelsea would win 2-1. They ended up winning 3-2, so we get 1 point for that. Watford ended up getting a win over Norwich, although they did concede, so we didn't get the correct score there. We got a draw in the Arsenal-Leicester game, which was nice. That's another point for us there. We got a win for City, although we predicted 3-1. We said it would have been 0-0. I would have got the score correct for Sheffield United Wolves. It was so close to a 0-0. And then Egan just comes in with a header and just ruins it all for not only my double clean sheet, but also just my score prediction as well. Just super frustrating there. So we don't get any points there. West Ham and Burnley. West Ham Burnley could have been a draw as well. Antonio should have scored. He had like 5 shots in that game, so it could have been something there as well. So unfortunately, nothing going there. Liverpool, we got the aggregate right, as it were. Liverpool winning by 2 goals of Brighton. However, it was a 3-1, so we're going to get 1 point for that. Bournemouth and Tottenham, I don't even want to talk about that game. That game was rubbish. The hardest thing in that game was basically staying awake watching it. It was terrible play by both teams. Obviously, Bournemouth are in relegation battle, and Spurs should be doing a lot better, but it was awful. Like, attacking-wise, both teams were just were non-existent. Obviously, Bournemouth got an offside goal that was disallowed, but they had a chance at the end as well with Lloris making a clutch save versus, I believe it was Harry Wilson, I think that was in on goal. But yeah, it was awful. 2-1 for Everton, I said, but unfortunately that was a draw. And Man United, I got the score exactly right, so we get 3 points there. So we got a total of 7, which is about average. We usually like to get at least 5 scores correct, and one of them being exactly correct, so that's about par for the course. Man United clean sheet, that was good. Watford clean sheet with Foster, nope. Wan-Bissaka did get a clean sheet, but he did get a yellow. And then Spurs were just terrible, so a 2 out of 5 on that one. Not terrible, not terrible. Probably about par for the course, I would say. And now moving on to this week's fixtures here. So, we have Norwich versus West Ham. I'm just going to put these in the middle of the screen because these are the same fixtures that we have there. Norwich versus West Ham. I think West Ham should win this game comfortably. I think they'll be slightly better than what Brighton did, and they'll win 2-0. Watford versus Newcastle could go either way. Newcastle not really playing for too much, and Watford may give them the game. I can see this end up being a 1-1, especially if the likes of St. Maximin are out. We saw him not in the squad completely, and we saw Almiron on the bench for their previous game. But I think that, Newcastle, if they do get him back, then they could obviously go on and win that game. But I think 1-1 is probably a fair result. Liverpool versus Burnley. Now, I think that Liverpool can concede a goal. Definitely. And I don't think they're going to have many chances against Burnley. But I still think they'll win the game. I'm going to go with a conservative 2-1 victory. Now, Sheffield United has been back on the up and up. They're getting their players back into the team. And Chelsea can't, keep goals out of their net. But Chelsea can score goals, so it's going to be a bit interesting. It's going to be the unstoppable force meets the immovable object type of scenario. I'm going to go on the fence with this one. I'm going to say a 1-0 draw. Brighton versus Manchester City. This should be a comfortable win for Manchester City. United scored 3 past Brighton at the Amex, as well as somebody else scored 3 past them recently. I believe it was Liverpool. Just last game. So I'm going to go with the same scoreline. I'm going to go with a 3-1 victory there as well. Everton versus Wolves. I think this game can go either way, I think, Everton look decent versus Southampton. Wolves are very good defensively. Everton aren't as consistent on the attack, but they haven't, they can concede goals. Again, I'm going to stick on the fence with this one, and I'm going to go with a 1-1. Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace. Now, this could be something that could spark Aston Villa here. I think Palace haven't been looking as great. They did concede 3 to Chelsea, although they're a very good attacking team. Defensive, priorities have always been there for them, but they just haven't shown it recently. And they're kind of not really playing for too much, so maybe Aston Villa can pull a win out here. I'm going to say Aston Villa wins this one in a narrow 2-1 victory. Spurs versus Arsenal. Now, I don't want, anything to for Arsenal to do good, because I'm a United fan, so obviously by trait I'm not supposed to like them. And I think that Arsenal have been playing better than Spurs. Spurs are awful, as previous our previous manager Jose Mourinho is now the manager of Spurs. I just think Spurs are just terrible. They can't score, they can barely defend, and that's still questionable. I think that it's just overall they're just playing terribly. But the thing is, Mourinho will get them up for this game, so I can see them being scrappy and kind of getting in Arsenal's face and somehow pulling out a victory. I think Spurs are going to bounce back, and I think it's going to end up being a 1-0. I think it might be just a 1-0. I could be crazy on that one. In normal circumstances, based on form, I would say Arsenal probably win this game comfortably. But I think Mourinho, the big games, this sort of stuff, the derby and that sort of thing, and they kind of have to get back on track. I think they can scrap out a 1-0 win. Bournemouth, I think Bournemouth should concede a fair few goals versus Leicester. Obviously, a lot of fantasy managers have been saying that, you know, I've been looking at kind of like the Spurs Bournemouth game as like kind of trial run. We do know Bournemouth can attack. There's no you know kind of science behind that. There's no kind of debate about that. Bournemouth do have very threatening offensive players, especially on the counterattack. They just can't defend. So I think that Leicester's defense is going to be slightly better than Spurs. I also think their attack is slightly better than Spurs, and I think Jamie Vardy will bag himself at least one goal in this game. And then lastly, probably United's toughest fixture on paper for the remainder of the season. Obviously, they have Crystal Palace away, who've been kind of struggling a little bit. West Ham, who are on the up and up, but, you know, should be no problem. And then Leicester, who United have had the kind of edge over in the head-to-head matches. So I think that United could be tough for them against Southampton. I think they'll definitely concede versus Southampton. I think United will kind of be a bit more dynamic in that game, because against Southampton, they have not played against Martial this season, nor have they played against Bruno Fernandes this season, and those are two different beasts, you know, from what they were at the start of the season or you know, previous seasons. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes coming over in January, so I think that is the most likely scoreline. In terms of clean sheets and players to watch out for, I think West Ham should keep a clean sheet this week, potentially. Yeah, West Ham. I was looking at Newcastle. I was like, why did I put a 1-1? But yeah, they play against Norwich, so they should keep a clean sheet this week, which is why I've gone for Fabianski as my goalkeeper. Should be a fairly easy 6 points, plus potential bonus points as well. No kind of arguments or kind of decision making. You know, not very big brain there. In defense, I'm going to go with Justin. He's been obviously playing ahead of Ricardo Pereira, who is currently injured at the moment and has a long-term injury. And I don't think he's going to be dropped, because he is probably the only player in the team that can play right back effectively without playing kind of like a auxiliary right back, like an old Brighton or a Damari Gray, or, you know, someone like that there. So I think Justin will definitely play. I think he's definitely going to get a clean sheet this week versus Bournemouth probably. And I think he could see some type of attacking returns from him as well. Into the midfield, we obviously have Mane, who was rested the previous game week, so he's definitely going to play this week. Salah will probably be rested for this game week. He'll probably come on still as well. But Mane is going to be looking to get, you know, his goal tally back within range of Salah. He was only one behind Salah going into their game versus Brighton, and obviously didn't come on the field for very long, and Salah going into like just goal scoring mode, went 2 ahead of him now. But that rivalry is going to be there, and I think he could be a good asset for this game week, even though a lot of people are kind of looking to sell him or move him on or what have you. Remember, Burnley isn't the worst fixture. It is at home, as well as Arsenal. They should be able to score a few goals there. Chelsea concede goals left, right, and center, even though they are you know, a team in the top 4 currently. And then the last game's versus Newcastle, who City put 5 past, so I don't see why Liverpool can't do the same. And then lastly, we have Olivier Giroud. I think he's obviously cementing his place in the starting lineup for the end of, you know, for the rest of the season. Obviously with the likes of Werner and Ziyech coming in, and potentially Kai Havertz for Chelsea. You know, he may obviously get his place shifted, but for the time being, I think he's an excellent differential up front, especially with Chelsea being able to score some goals. I just think that Sheffield United might be a bit more defensive in this game and be able to keep Chelsea out from scoring. So yeah, I think that's it for all of the differentials there. Just gonna bring this up a little bit so that everyone can just see all of them. And yeah, that's my predictions for this game week. Now, onto the team. This is where the spicy stuff happens. So, what I was going to do in this game week. So, I'm gonna bring up what my team was before this. So, he was out. And there was one more, and he was out. So this was our team before I went absolutely crazy. It was Jimenez. It was Nketiah, and it was Son, I think. Yeah, that's who it was. So this is what our team kind of looked like before. So what we were kind of thinking of when we went into the game week was Greenwood is an absolute beast. The problem is we have Wan-Bissaka down back, and I don't think United are going to keep any more clean sheets probably for the rest of the season. I think Southampton can score. I think West Ham can score. I think Palace can nick one. And I think that Leicester will potentially score versus us as well, especially with, last game of the season, potentially a Champions League spot on the line, all those sorts of things. And then obviously we have Nketiah, who's got a red card. Obviously not great. We also have Jimenez, who, his wife's expecting a baby. And then, obviously, Son, who's just at rotation risk now. And Spurs are terrible. So, what was I going to do this week? Well, initially, what I was going to do was take out Jimenez because he was more likely to basically potentially miss out, and he hasn't scored in 3. Whereas Calvert-Lewin, I still kind of want to keep him, even though he hasn't been doing great. He has Wolves away, this week, who he could, we could put him on the bench for. But then he has Aston Villa at home. Sheffield United away is obviously not great. And then Bournemouth at home. Could be good stuff there. And even if we have him on the bench, it's not the end of the world. Like, if I think that, there's any inclination that Mason Greenwood may be bench, then I'll play Calvert-Lewin in those games instead. Or maybe Foden, it depends, depending on rotation. So if I see Foden start this week, he's almost certainly not going to start in the Bournemouth game. He may get 30 minutes, which is it better than Calvert-Lewin getting 90 minutes versus, or thereabouts, versus Aston Villa. I'll kind of have to weigh that up. So I have to do a bit of a rotation risk here. So basically what we were saying is we wanted to get rid of Son. So we got rid of Son, and we brought in Raheem Sterling. And the reason why we did that is because Son is obviously terrible, and Sterling is probably going to start this week and is definitely a triple captaincy option, which I'm definitely playing this week to make up for the points deficits that I've been taking for hits in the previous game week as well as this week. And we only had one free going into this week, so this is a minus 12. This is definitely a big risk. However, on paper, it looks like it could work out quite fine, especially with the way it kind of fits into itself. So, and then it was, kind of me thinking, okay, well, what are my moves going ahead? So if we kind of look at the Game Week 35 fixture, okay, fine, that looks good. And then we're thinking, okay, well, in Game Week 36, City play Bournemouth, cool, that's fine. Everton play Aston Villa, and I could just, I could run Calvert-Lewin out there. Perfectly fine. United have Crystal Palace away. Maybe there's some rotation, potentially, because obviously there is an FA Cup game to be played on the weekend versus Chelsea, and that may be more of a priority. So we may see, Mason Greenwood rested in this game. You may see like a Gallo playing, like starting in this game. You never know. Because once this game hits, like once game week like 35 starts, it's super quick for United in terms of turnaround. So that could be, was kind of something that I was kind of looking at there. But I was also intrigued by the prospect of Luca Digne as well. So what I was saying is that, going into the final game, Mason seems to be undroppable. United's not going to have any more clean sheets, so Wan-Bissaka is basically going to be 2 or 1 points in my team pretty much every week. And I just thought, let me bring in Luca Digne. And then I said, well, I have another problem potentially as well. I only have 2 United assets now. I kind of want 3. Mason Greenwood's been looking good. Ngakia is not going to play for us. Lascelles was injured. Nketiah is suspended for another 2 games. So I said, Nketiah is not gonna play. So I might as well bring in somebody who I know can play. And then what I can basically do is just basically run out Patricio, Digne, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Doherty as our defense. We run out Sterling, De Bruyne, Martial, Fernandes, Vardy every game week to the end of the season, unless we're, in game week 37 as an example, we might take Vardy out because he plays Spurs and Danny Ings plays Bournemouth, or whatever it may be. We still have 0.7 in the bank, so we could potentially make some, some changes there. Maybe we go with the we bank a transfer in 36, because this team is set up for 36 as well, so I don't need to do anything for 36 transfer-wise. So what I want to see is how well Vardy does in 36. If he bangs it for Sheffield United, then I can say, okay, that's a decent defensive team. He's going to smash Spurs as well, which means that I can use my 2 free transfers to potentially get rid of Trent, who's probably going to concede to Chelsea, and maybe upgrade Calvert-Lewin to the likes of Danny Ings, and then basically just have Foden on the bench instead in their game versus, I believe it's Watford in 37. Fixtures. Yeah, Watford away in 37. And if he's looking like he's going to be benched, so let's say he goes, if we look at his fixtures, if he's just kind of doing, rotation, he's going to be benched this week, potentially. He'll play in the Bournemouth game, fine. He'll be benched versus Watford, and he'll play in the Norwich game, but he also has the FA Cup game to play as well. So, again, it's going to have to be a bit of rotation risk. I'm just, kind of thinking I need to be a little bit more comfortable with the players on my bench. It has to be a little bit safer there, I think. So that's the changes that we made, and the way the team looks currently right now is as follows. So we have Patricio at home to Everton, as well as Doherty at home to Everton. I'm just hoping that the Wolves versus Everton game is a 0-0, basically. And if both teams score, I just hope that Doherty and Digne assist it. That's it, basically. We have Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's a bit of a risk this week. He's a bit of a risk this week. He may get rested because Robertson got rested last week, so he may be at risk here. We got our 3 United players versus Southampton at home, and Martial, Fernandes, and Greenwood. We have our 3 City players. We have Foden, De Bruyne, and Sterling in there. Like I said, De Bruyne is, sorry, not De Bruyne. Phil Foden is probably better for 30 minutes versus Brighton away than Calvert-Lewin is against Wolves at home. So yeah, and then if obviously somebody misses out, we still have Lascelles, who's probably going to be back in the team. And we currently have the captaincy, the triple captaincy on Jamie Vardy. It's either going to be him or Sterling. I think that obviously, Leicester are going to be seeing this as basically as a golden boot stat padding, sign for Vardy. They're going to definitely want to go for it. This is where they're going to boost up their goal difference a little bit as well, which could come into play potentially with the amount of goals United are scoring. And I also think that Sterling is also a very good option, as he's probably going to start, as he was rested in the previous game week. So I think that he could also be a viable option for the captaincy as well. And not many people have Sterling, so it could be a bit interesting. But I think I'm leaning more towards Vardy, just because he's going to have that golden boot hunger. He is the man in form as well. And Sterling might be playing the false 9 role in their game versus Brighton. But every time they've kind of played that, it just doesn't look good. It just, like, the way they play, it just doesn't look right. And now, who knows, maybe against Brighton it'll be good, but I'm kind of leaning more towards Vardy this week. But we'll definitely post the lineup as well later on this evening once I've finalized everything. But this will definitely be the 11. The bench will stay the same. Calvert-Lewin first, Lascelles, then Ngakia. Martin is obviously a non-playing goalkeeper. He'll be on the bench as well. And we'll definitely be going with the 3-5-2. And the captaincy will be on one of the current captain or vice captains for this game week. I see a smile on your face. Same, yeah. That's not necessarily a smile of Man United winning. That's a smile of how good my team could do, or also kind of the putting on the smile for how potentially bad United, not United, my FPL team could do. But yeah, hey. It is what it is, unfortunately. It is what it is. We have to take hits in order to get the team back in shape here. It just so happens United's doing well as well. It's obviously good. And in terms of, if I wasn't a United fan at all, I would definitely be getting 3 United attackers, or trying to get them at some point. Are they contending next season? I think there's still a couple of signings away, but it's still too early, because there could be 5 sub rule going into the next season. Could still be water breaks. There's going to be a bunch of different things in there. Chelsea obviously is going to basically have a completely new front line as well. Chelsea could be a contenders. Maybe the likes of City obviously go out and spend like they will, but we shall see. We shall see. But yeah, that's definitely gonna do it for this game week. So yeah, make sure to follow us over here on Twitch, PilotFlame226 on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to our channel over there as well. This preview is going to go up as well, and we're also going to be doing a buy, hold, sell video, which I'm going to post as soon as I get off here, as well as this stream as well. The buy, hold, sell video is going to come out. And then, yeah, I think we'll also be doing a bench boost video as well. Like players, I think you should be looking for bench boost, as well as another free hit video for next week, because I also think potentially a better game week for the free hit is also next week. But yeah, we're gonna be posting those as well. So yeah, make sure to leave a like over there. Make sure to subscribe, like I said, if you are new around there. And like I said, the lighting will get better. It's looking decent right now, but it's still not perfect yet. But we'll kind of be adjusting it as we go on as well. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this preview. And until the next one, take care.